It gives me great pleasure to introduce episode 127 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast. And I've got the wonderful Worthing manager, CHRIS AGUTTER, back. Chris, not first come on this podcast in episode 7, which was about 4.5 years ago. Quickly on the hair, because he's just mentioned it off camera. The hair is looking fantastic, Chris. I love it. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah, anyway, we're going to start on the hair straight away. Yeah, only 4 haircuts left.
I've got about 2 haircuts left.
That's 2. No, it's a beautiful, beautiful. That is what a trip to Turkey is all about, mate. That's all I'm going to say. Great to have you on, Aggie. It's fantastic. You're at Vanarama League South, Worthing, a great club. Where should we start? Let's talk about the half-decent start to the season. How do you feel you're settling in?
Yeah, it's been good fun. It's been a decent challenge. Obviously, the 6 games away from home to start the season was a challenge. Obviously, with the new stands being built at Woodside, it just means that, like I said, we spent a lot of time on the road early doors. But I think if we got a game in hand, we win that. When we win that, we go in the playoffs and a couple of points off top. So yeah, no, it's been a decent start. Yeah, no, it's one of the better starts I've made as well, because normally start of the season is always a little bit hit and miss as we're sort of trying to find our best way forwards. And to be fair, I think it's been pretty positive.
Yeah, I mean, I've never known anything like it. 6 in a row away. Have you? I've never seen it in my life. I mean, what's that like? You never really been around the Worthing support before, so having that thing of being the new man, 6 games away, that must have been very strange.
Yeah, there's been a few challenges, to be fair, but we tried to view it as more of an opportunity to put points on the board, and from a set of really difficult away fixtures. And to be fair, we're running at just below 2 points per game at the minute, and I think that from an away record is well, experience tells me that's very good going. And when we put on top of that a decent home record, which we will no doubt have, I think it bodes really well. But yeah, it's just all new. It's like anything when you go into any new environment. There's things you've got to get used to and different ways of doing things. And yeah, you have your own set of challenges, but I just sort of try and view it all as an opportunity just to better myself and just try and embrace it, really.
Yeah, I mean, what are those facilities like? Obviously, you've worked at Brighton, which, million, vast, great facilities
Disneyland.
there. Yeah, Disneyland, yeah. And then obviously at my club and your ex-club, Hastings, obviously very different. And, you did your best with whatever you had. How would you compare Worthing? What for someone who isn't a Worthing fan, how would you compare their facilities? What is it like, like as you walk in the door Monday morning, what sort of options have you got? Like, how you can plan your schedule?
Well, I think the main thing is obviously the 3G pitch. We saw it last season at Hastings towards the back end of the year when the pitch essentially was worse for wear. It really impacted how we want to play, and even now it frustrates me thinking about it, because our away record, I think we won over 70% of games. So I think if we had a better surface at home, we probably would have got in the playoffs. That's my genuine belief. So those sorts of challenges we don't have to face at Worthing because of the 3G pitch. So that's the big one. Just the surface, really. I mean, the stadium itself, as I said earlier, there's a lot of work going on at the club, a lot of great work, new stand being put in terms of like the supporter base. And I mean, we had over 1,500 which was a reduced capacity at our first home game last weekend. So it's pretty similar to Hastings, to be fair. But the standout difference is the playing surface. And I think it really, I have no doubt, if Hastings put a 3G pitch down on the pilot field, much to the grass enthusiast despair, Hastings would fly. I think it's a complete game changer. And obviously, having been involved at Hastings on and off for sort of the best part of probably the last 10 years, it does make me think, if only like the previous owner, Darren, had just laid a 3G.
Yeah.
If they'd laid a 3G, I think they would have been in National League South by now. Just with the support of base and the size of the town, there's an awful lot of crossover between Worthing and Hastings in terms of the opportunities. But the big difference is the pitch. So that's more really a message to the current owners of Hastings: get a 3G down, and that'll be a game changer, I think.
Yeah. So, well, you're at Worthing. It's a fantastic opportunity that come your way.
Yeah.
When you first heard about it, I mean, how did they sell the club to you, Chris? What was it that they kind of, was there like a blueprint, like a 3 to 5 year plan sort of deal, or what was the way they sold it to you?
They just sort of made it clear what their sort of ambitions are. Obviously, the people behind the scenes. I try not to sort of invest in clubs. It's more people.
Yeah.
And I sort of try and think, well, can I work with these guys? And that was one of the big things. Again, going back to Hastings, I loved about Hastings was the people behind the scenes are amazing. They're like the best. Like with Ben, Dean, Glyn, these guys, Mark Gall, Metin. They're brilliant people. So that was the first thing really, is when I met with the owners of the football club, I thought, well, can I work with them? Irrelevant of sort of the ambitions and the expectations of the club, but you've got to invest in people really, and they're really good people. They're, as I said, very ambitious. They've invested an awful lot into the football club. I mean, George Dow's story is, I don't know how much you know about it, but his story is incredible. It's like genuinely inspirational. So that was the first big positive, really. And like I said, they're very ambitious. The opportunity to work at a higher level.
Yeah.
They were sort of big positives. And again, going back to what we said, the facilities as well. That was a real frustration last year, because I felt we had an opportunity at Hastings, we had an opportunity to go up, but obviously we made mistakes. But I do feel like there was a lot of stuff that was out of our control, which impacted us potentially finishing in the playoffs or not. And that situation with the ground and the surface at the football club, it wasn't going to change anytime soon. So I just thought, why not? I want to sort of test myself at the best level possible. Obviously, having worked in the football league, I got a taste for that, and I wanted to, I want to sort of strive for that again, but do it as a manager rather than as a coach. So it was sort of the first step really on that journey. But genuinely, it was up there with one of the most difficult decisions I've ever made. I can remember. So the offer or the interest from Worthing come about probably 3 months before the end of the season. But the actual offer in terms of the role came the day after the Senior Cup final.
Oh God, don't mention that.
So we spoke, but they were speaking to a number of candidates who were no doubt far better qualified than me for the role. And then, as I said, it was all sort of bubbling away. But equally, I was so focused and incredibly happy at Hastings. Even with a lot of the stuff that's been said over the past few months from supporters, which I don't think has been very kind in terms of like directed towards myself and stuff like that, I still love the football club and I love the supporters. And so when the offer come, it was a real Jesus. And it was, and in reality, it should have been straightforward.
Yeah,
because of the facilities, because of the people behind the scenes at Worthing, they're great people, because of the level, because of the platform that it would sort of give me in terms of my own career and obviously my family and stuff like that. Should have been really straightforward, but it wasn't, and that was more a reflection of my sort of feeling towards Hastings. So it was a whirlwind sort of 48 hours, especially after the Senior Cup final, where it was a disappointing evening.
Yeah, that's a way to that's a way to say it. Disappointing evening. Yeah. We're human beings, Chris. It's, as you say, relationships you build at places, you can't fake it. So it's people would be mad if they say that when that offer come along, they wouldn't jump at it with if they're ambitious, which is what you should be. You should be ambitious anyway. But people say a lot of things.
Yeah, I know, and I've got a lot better at ignoring a lot of stuff. But there's been some stuff has been really unfortunate, and you think, and these are people that I speak to face to face, and you then see the keyboard warriors, and I know with where I want to go, you've got to take those things on the chin, but I'm not a robot. Do you know what I mean? And genuinely, like, people can think, you don't love the club, and I genuinely have so much time for Hastings United Football Club. I don't think there's any other football club that I would have gone back to. I mean, I had, over the past sort of couple of years, I've had offers to get back in at first team level from academy football, and like I said, I was at Brighton, and as soon as the opportunity come to go back to Hastings, I couldn't get there quick enough. And that feeling, even though, as I said, I've had a few pelters, I know the real supporters, I think, appreciate what we've done there. And, as I said, that hasn't changed my sort of feeling towards the club and its supporters. And, I genuinely love it.
Yeah, well, how we feel, Aggie. It's, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you're always going to get people that, to me, you may not like this, but like, to me, words are not violence. People say all sorts of things. It's just, you know what? I like it when they start speaking out, because it shows you that they don't know what they're on about. They end up saying 3 different things at once. They don't like this. They don't like that. They don't like this. And then they like, it's all, Anyway, they've just got nothing better to fucking do in their lives, mate.
The thing is ultimately it's about winning games of football.
Yeah.
And my record at Hastings stands up against anyone's in terms of winning games. And perhaps some of the supporters are now starting to see what a job maybe we done last year, where with a group of players where we ended up getting close to competing with, or not just close to compete, we've competing with the best teams in that division. As I said, that's the beauty of football as well. Like, it's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Do you know what I mean? Like, what one person likes is something somebody else doesn't. This was one of the things about Worthing, is they have in terms of their beliefs on how football should be played, we're very aligned in terms of playing philosophy. So, there will be times at Hastings where obviously you get, because you pass it backwards, you get a little bit of stick for it. Whereas at Worthing and under Hinch, they developed a way of playing and had loads of success. And so in terms of alignment from my perspective and the club's perspective on how we think the best ways to win games, we were definitely on the same page.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your league then. So Hemel Hempstead are absolute up to a flyer. Yeah, I think they've won. I think they've played 8, won 7.
Yeah,
their only draw was against your boys. You absolutely left it to the last millisecond to get a draw. So an excellent result on the road.
Yeah.
Do you see? I mean, you obviously must be looking at playoffs. Yeah, I'm sure that the Worthing fan base is, I wouldn't be say expected, but they expect you to do half decent. So there's obviously must be there is a bit of pressure on you there in terms of expectation of playoffs. I mean, how do you see the league sort of panning out?
To be honest, I don't think you can pay much attention to it until sort of 10, 15 games.
Yeah.
And then I think it's you tend to get a decent sort of sample size, 6 to 10 games. But what I would say is there's some teams that haven't really played anyone, if I'm being honest. I think there will be 7 or 8 teams that will be up near the top of the division, and I think it's there for the taking across those 7 or 8 teams. I think it'll be really competitive. And what I would say is the teams that I think find themselves near the top end of the table now after 7 games perhaps haven't played some of the big hitters. And like you alluded to there, the points that Hemel Hempstead dropped come against us. And to be honest, we should have won the game.
Really?
We left it late. But I mean, it was only really the Truro game where we had a mad 12-minute where I sort of come away thinking we didn't deserve to win that. We just needed to tweak a couple of things, and we probably needed to bring in a couple of other faces as well, just to give us a little bit more quality in forward areas. And I think if we'd done that sooner in the off-season or pre-season, we could be looking there having won 6, 7 games. But like I said, it's early days, and I think 10, 15 games, you'll get a real good idea of where the league table's at. I mean, like Dorking are down in mid-table. There's no way in a million years that's going to be the case come May. Boreham Wood, I mean, we beat Boreham Wood last week, but Boreham Wood are the best team we've played. So it's really competitive. But of course, the expectation. And like that. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a really good point. But the expectation at Worthing is we've got to try and go up and get promoted. But it's not really any different to whenever I've been at Hastings, to be fair, or any other sort of first team environment. It's always been how can we win the league? So it's just more of the same type of pressure, to be honest. And like I said, where there's a lot of crossover between the two clubs, like Seaside Town, big crowds, big expectations, it's something I'm accustomed to, really.
You got Havant Waterlooville in the Cup, FA Cup, this Saturday. Now, we're recording this on the Friday. This won't come out till next week. So if there's any magic that you're going to put in the sides, you can always say it. But how are you approaching this season? I know normally you would put your strongest side out all the time, particularly in the FA Cup. I mean, what's your hopes for Worthing in the cup competitions? Are you trying to go as far as possible? I mean, that's a stupid question. That's a stupid question. Take it back, Aggie. How far do you think you can go in the cup?
Well, I mean, it's similar to the league, really. I mean, that Worthing's never been in the National League, and that's the ambition. And from an FA Cup perspective, they've never been beyond the first round. And that's also the sort of ambition. So I guess it's a case of taking the club to a place where it's never been before. That's really the attitude. And honestly, Chris, we've got some very good players. Like
Danny Cashman.
Jesus Christ, we've got a lot of quality. I mean, and some of the football that we've played this year is some of the best football I've ever seen firsthand. And it's when we get it right, because that was one of the other things as well. Like we've had to, from last season, we've had to replace 70 goals. So the club lost Ollie Pearce, Joe Felix, Brad Dollahan, and they were involved in 70 goals last year. That was a big reason why we're come as close as they did. So it's still early days in terms of where we're at as a team, and already we're producing some brilliant football. So in terms of the FA Cup, we just want to, well, you know what I'm like. I just want to win every.
English Jose. I know that.
You know what I mean? Just even if it's like a pre-season friendly tournament, I want to win it. And I think you see a lot of managers and coaches, they talk about, we'll see where we're at, and they dampen expectations. But if I'm being honest, I think you're just being a bit of a shithouse. You just got to, part of the role of being a first team manager is it comes with pressure, and if you don't want that pressure and expectation, don't do it. And for me, like all these conversations around don't get relegated and stay up and all that chat in August, you're like, come on, let's have a go. And we can't be afraid to sort of set high expectations and ambitions and have a go for it. Otherwise, what's the point? The importance of being process driven rather than outcome driven, because sometimes winning games can mask over the reality of the situation. And like I said, with that sample size, I think 6 to 10 games, you get an idea of where you're at. And because in theory, you see enough variables across those games to go, do you know what, we'll be all right. My challenge at Worthing a lot of the time is to not get in the players' way, because like you said with Cashman and co, they're brilliant players. Half the battle for me is actually don't restrict them, let them find their way, and then balance off the team against what their natural instincts are.
Aggie, so any message to the Worthing fans then? So what are they to expect this season? I mean, we've already seen over various, on the old socials, loads of different sites showing some of the glorious football that you've been playing, some great goals, starting from the very back of the pitch, obviously goalie setting this and that up. What can they expect this season?
I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be exciting. I think we'll win a lot of games. I mean, to be honest, hopefully more of the same, because I think, like I said, we've made a decent start, and we're playing in moments at the minute, but like you said, the moments are very, very, very exciting. The challenge for us is to turn those moments into spells, and that's when we'll start getting into a place where we're winning sort of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row. That's obviously the plan, and that we've seen more than enough in those moments to go, do you know what, with more time and group getting more familiar with each other, there's going to be more and more of those moments, and they'll turn into spells, and spells into halves, and halves into games. That's what we can expect. And like I said, we've lost 1 in 7, and like I said at the start of the podcast, if we win the game in hand, or when we win it, we'll be in touching distance of top spot. So, and the thing is, well, we're only going to get better. That's one thing that's always happened whenever I've worked with a group of players. It might sound a bit arrogant maybe, but they've always improved. We've never gone backwards, and we certainly don't intend to do that at Worthing.
Oh, great stuff, Aggie. Thanks very much for your time, mate. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Good luck with your season as well. Maybe see you in the Sussex Cup.
It's Britain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Britain. Sussex Senior Cup away at the Pilot Field. They just need to make sure they cut the grass for that game.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I know.
Wait.
I know. Wherever Ben White and D White is, as soon as very clever. Leave the grass long for a base team like Worthing. Yeah.
All right. No. Love you, Aggie. Take care, mate. And yeah, good luck with your season.
Top man, Chris. And you all the best to everyone as well.